Hello friends, it's me Virtualee with another episode of Career Series, and today we are focusing on the business career, and man do I have a story for you guys today. But before we start with the story and what we're doing, I actually want to tell our new friends on the channel what we're up to. So the Career Series is basically 5 minutes of a starter, quote unquote, starter build. And then it's 5 minutes of create a sim. So we create a sim or sims in this case today for this particular career and this particular house. And then 5 minutes of a role playing with the characters so that we can get to know their backstory and who they are and who they are to be or whatever. There's always some scandal, right? but welcome to the channel if you're new. I'm so excited you're here, and we're going to be building a very modern something or other. Now this isn't technically a true starter build because it costs about 25,000 simoleons plus. But you do have all your basic necessities. I try to make the builds link up with the features as far as traits that are going to be beneficial to that career. And I also try to put some skill building items in the house that will allow you to skill build against that career. So this particular model floor plan I found on Pinterest. I Googled small modern homes very simply, and I got this blueprint from Drummond House Plans, I guess. So this is it. This is going to be it. The bedrooms, this is a really weird setup. And I think the reason why I picked it is because it's so different. But the bedrooms are downstairs in this particular floor plan. And the living space is upstairs. So you have an open floor plan. It's a kitchen, living room, and then you have a sort of veranda area upstairs, which is really nice for house parties. But I don't have much in it. And as you can see, I have a little toddler room. So we're going to be making a sim, one sim and a toddler. And you'll see the backstory in a little bit. The house colors are grays, blacks, and whites, etc. But the reason for it is because there is a very serious story tied to this house that, again, we'll watch in a few seconds. Again, I try to put a lot of features that I could, and I try to keep it at starter price. But there were so many things that the toddler needed, and I don't want to put a toddler room in here and not have the things that you need for a toddler. I don't know, but you guys can do whatever you want to the room. That room can actually become a study if you decide to download it. But one thing that I always forget when I build is to place a sink in the house, which is why I've learned not to upload a house right away. I'll build it, I'll sit on it for a day or two, and I'll think about all the things that I put on there, and then I start thinking about all the things that I missed, and then I'll come back and fix it. But of course I do a lot of play testing as well. And for this particular story, the sim is in the storyline, not necessarily IRL, but in the storyline, the sim is kind of established in his or her career already. So I didn't want a full-on basic base house because, you know, the story calls for a little bit more of an established career-oriented sim, and you'll see in a little bit. But again, this is just a 5-minute build, so we're going to wrap this up in a little bit. I do extend the baby's room a little bit so they can have a little bit more space, so that you can put more stuff in there if you need to. And I push the walls out a little bit because it was hard to get into the rooms. I'm placing rugs all over the place. Again, the color scheme is super depressing, but you guys can soup it up if you download it. But I do like the floor plan. I do like the look of it. And it does match really well with Malcolm's house in the background. So I give it a logic trait, I give it charisma trait, and I give it a good school vibe for children. So I think that's important too if you're going to have little similes running around in the house, right? So the other thing that I have is this faux chimney, which if I had more simoleons, this is a challenge, guys. not having the ability to soup these houses up is a true challenge for me. But I really wanted to put a fireplace by that faux fire chimney dealio. And now here we are at cast. Now I start cast off with an already created sim. And my inspiration for this particular sim is, oh, Mom, help me with the name. Elijah? Elijah, yeah. Elijah from the original. So my mom and I, we have established this tradition, right, Mom?
Yes.
She's like, yes. So this time around in her visit, we are obsessed with the originals. And we are obsessed in particular with this character named Elijah Michelson. And he is super elegant and he wears suits all the time. And he's like very charismatic and he's like very righteous. What else is he? Super duper handsome. 8 packs. Yes, look how gorgeous he is. He is so beautiful. I think this is one of the closest to any sort of, what is that guy's name in real life? Let's see, Elijah Michael. I'm actually typing IRL, Michelson actor. What's his name? Daniel Gillis. Gillies? Ooh, I like his real name, Mom. He's so handsome. So the only thing we were missing is his forehead is a little bit wider than the rest of his face. And he has a really huge Adam's apple, which I couldn't recreate in The Sims. But other than that, I think we did really, really good in getting his likeness down. He is so flippin' beautiful. And for like one entire, I'm not going to spoil the story, but for like one entire, I'm getting all excited because I like this guy. But for like one entire season, he has this love interest and they barely like kiss. And you're like, every time they get close to kissing, you're like, come on, you can do it. But they never do until another season. And I won't tell you which season that is. But we're on season, actually, I probably will, go ahead and say it anyway. But we're on season, halfway through season 2. And it is so, so, so good. If you like fantasy stories, there's about, 7 seasons already? How many? 4 seasons? There's about 4 or 5 seasons already. But anyway, he is inspired by Daniel Gillis's character, Elijah Michelson, who is a vampire in the story, but in my story, he is not. I'm calling him Elijah Law because he's my lawyer. He's in the business career. And he's a single dad. And you're going to see his beautiful little munchkin in a little bit. I'm trying to soup him up, though. Like, his character is so on target with Elijah Michelson. Super elegant, very classy, very dapper, very high society. And I'm going to cheat a little bit because I really want a cute son for him. And this one's pretty cute, I've got to say. So we make him in a little mini, I actually call him Michael. Get it? Elijah Michelson. So I call the baby Michael, last name Law. And if you noticed, they are also in the gray-ish color. So you have gray, white, the morning, they're morning, and you'll see why in a second. So Mr. Elijah Law, I'm going to try and give him all the traits necessary to be successful in the business career. Look how gorgeous he is. Just sigh. I don't know. I think Malcolm has a little bit of competition here because I'm totally digging this sim. So I'm giving him the outgoing trait. I'm going to give him the romantic trait because that's what Elijah is in his story in the originals. I'm going to give him, I struggled here a little bit because it says to give him like a popular trait so he can have gregarious. Gregarious is important for the business career. So I chose, I should have chosen Friend of the World. And I almost chose Snob, but then I was like, Elijah isn't really, I asked Mom, he's more of an ambitious guy. So we settled for that. And for this little guy, since Daddy works all the time, he's going to be Mr. Independent. All right. And now I'm going to pause for a second because we're going to get ready for the role play.
This town would be a relief from the constant reminder that was my wife, Helene, in Windenburg. Every time I heard the ocean's waves or the ferry go by, it reminded me of her. Why she disappeared when Michael was born has been a mystery for the last 2 years. Her family furious I moved to Newcrest with Michael, but this is where her job would send her on business. This is the last place that met her. This is the place I will find answers. Luckily, being a partner in the firm allows me to live remotely to oversee our Newcrest branch. It is a win-win situation since we lacked representation on this side of the world. My son is my constant. Sadly, he does not have any of her features, but what he lacks in likeness, he possesses in spades in terms of personality. He is independent, gregarious, smart, just like Helene. Her last scientific assignment was at the space facility not far from here. The last thing I recall her telling me is, "I will be back before you know it." She kissed my cheek, and off she went. Were I a time traveler, I would prevent her departure somehow. If not for me, for the sake of Michael. You see, I try. I try very hard to be his father and his mother. I try very hard to teach him the ways of the world. I try to fill the void he may be feeling in not having Helene to console him when he scrapes his knees. Try to answer all his curiosities the way I know Helene would had she been asked them. I try, and that is the hardship. Trying is not necessarily accomplishing successfully. It is a mere perfunctory attempt. Hopefully, deep down inside, he knows I do all of this for him. Our new surroundings remind us of our mourning. There is no color in our life without our heart. There can never be reds or yellows or greens, the colors of passion, happiness, success. Until she is found, there will only be blacks and grays, and perhaps some in-betweens, but never any rainbows. Save for Michael. He is my only prism of hope, my only splash of color. For weeks I searched the internet for answers. Internet flights, hotel guest logs. I even requisitioned visitor logs at the space facility to no avail. How could one person become a ghost in such a small town? How could her company not vouch for her assignment? How could one woman be so evasive? There simply must be more to this story than, "Mr. Law, I regret to inform you your wife has abandoned her home with no forwarding address." Michael deserves more, and I need more. Every morning is the same story. Michael wakes up, waddles to my room to look for me, doesn't see me in bed, then waddles to the bathroom where he finds me mourning his mum. I notice his small, perfect form in the doorway, and it comforts me to know he is there. I get myself together and swoop him in my arms. We play for what seems like hours. He is Superman, I am his sidekick, and together we fight the bad guys. Not before a swing here and a swoosh there, because that makes Michael laugh. And that is my splash of color. My new neighbor swung by when I got out of work. 3 interesting individuals. An artist by the name of Melinda with ebony hair and an interesting accent. I'm completely unsure where she's originally from, but she lives right next door to me. Home's wild colors makes my eyes bleed, but she is warm and welcoming. Malcolm lives next door to Melinda. He's quite unsettling. Somehow he was playing an interesting character in front of the ladies, but shortly asked if he could borrow the computer, and that was the last I saw of him that evening. Then there was Sally, an astronaut from the local space facility. How fortuitous. I shall have to force this friendship. in hopes I can gain some more information on Helene's last whereabouts. The police force gave up on Helene a long time ago, but I shan't. Not for Michael's sake, not for my own sanity's sake. I feel it in the core of who I am. This mystery shall reconcile itself soon.
Aww, Elijah's story makes my heart break. I hope you guys enjoyed that. I hope you liked the build, the characters, the whole enchilada. There's more of this series to come. If you enjoyed it, give it a big thumbs up. If you're feeling froggy and you'd like to share it, that would mean the world to me. In the meantime, you guys have a great rest of the week, and I'll talk to you super, super soon. Bye!